Hello, and welcome to Screenplay, the podcast where two professional screenwriters procrastinate on mic. I am Will, and Kevin, how are you?
I'm very well, Will. It's great to be back on mic again, talking shite.
Talking shite, as we do. It is the best of things.
And this is the topical podcast where we take something topical and pick a top three from the big and small screen, but also for this episode from the computer screen.
The smallest of screens. The smaller of
screen.
the screens. The phone screens and the window screen that everyone's watching. YouTube. We're inspired by YouTube.
For this episode.
And the news, because we're linking it back into movies, the news that a YouTuber, God, I should have just pulled it up before I...
Markiplier.
Thank you. That's his YouTube channel, isn't it? That's his YouTube name.
Yeah. It's been all over the different podcasts. So it's like, I saw it being covered on the Town podcast. It was like, hey, this guy has just gone straight into the charts here with a film that's been self-financed. And I thought, hey, we should do this. And then since then, I've noticed all the other podcasts talking about him. But yeah.
So his movie is Iron Lung.
This is not an expedition. It's an execution.
It debuted in number 2 in the US box office, ahead of Melania and just behind Send Help, Sam Raimi's film. The current box office total of 21.5 million, which is very strong, which is very, very strong.
And he spent next to nothing on marketing. It was all
incredible
groundswell of him activating his YouTube subscribers and saying, lads, I'm going to be adapting this game, which apparently he did a playthrough of the game on his channel once, and then decided, I want to make a film. I'm not a subscriber of his channel. Like the first time I heard of him was this news.
Yeah,
it speaks to how, like, we're all familiar with this whole thing of everyone being in different echo chambers and stuff, but we're also in different ecosystems entirely. So, like, I was completely oblivious to this guy's existence, but he's a huge YouTuber. And obviously he's just paid dividends where he said, guys, I'm going to make a film. Will you all go to see it? They all swarmed the different cinema chains and said, we want to see this film. Will you put it on? And he ended up getting it into all the big major chains. And behind a huge studio-backed film with a massive marketing budget with stars in it by an iconic filmmaker, it sneaks in just right underneath him, like $1 million off, beating at the box office. And that to me says things have massively changed. This is like one of those Christian fundamentalist films that comes out and they block book all the different cinemas and give away tickets and stuff, but it's less nefarious than that.
His YouTube channel has currently 38.2 million subscribers. 38.2 million subscribers.
Just ahead of us then.
Yeah, just about, not quite, but we'll say almost, okay, nearly 10 times the population of Ireland subscribed to his YouTube channel, and we did not know he existed up until last week, until this news.
That's mad.
Isn't it incredible?
Guess how many subscribers we have on YouTube?
12? I don't know.
We don't put out anything on YouTube. Our podcasts go out without any visuals. Do you remember when we started the podcast, we had this conversation where we were going back and forth about, maybe we can do a video component. We'll do a straight conversation and we'll do a video component. We'll put our fucking faces out there and it'll be great. And that fell by the wayside because it's just so much fucking work.
It's a lot of work. And you also have to have the visuals. You have to have, I know you look amazing.
We don't have that.
Like, you look at us, no, we're not pretty to look at. Although what I will say is, what I was speaking for myself. That's what I was doing.
You just said we're not pretty to look at. I'm fucking gorgeous.
If we listen to the raw track, I don't know what I said, but I implied just myself. That's what I was trying to imply. But you want to know something. Because I was installing YouTube on my TV and whatnot, and quite randomly when I was just going through the channels, I was looking for something. That's what it was. I saw one of the YouTube clips that you would have made for like the Muppet Show, and it was like and you probably use it for TikTok or something like that. And it was like 5 or 6 minute long.
That probably took me about an hour to do, and I thought, I'm not doing this anymore. Fuck that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it got a few thousand views though.
It got traction for what we're used to, but it was also that visual component. It worked beautifully, but it was like when I was watching, I went, "Oh God, the amount of work it took to sync this whole bloody thing up."
Because we're doing it after the fact.
Exactly. If we were doing it designed to be that way, it would have been a lot easier, but it wasn't. So it was retroactively editing it. It's a lot of work, but it works. The visual components married with our voices actually worked really, really well. Now, let's not talk about us.
I love that you're the biggest fan of our podcast.
It's great to be on the outside looking in. So to your point, there are so many huge YouTube video creators out there that have their own country's worth of devoted followers and watchers.
And they're making a fortune. They're making far more than they'd make if they were going down the traditional route.
Yeah.
Where everything is curated and constricted.
And it just is another example of shining a light on how the analog monoculture or relative monoculture that we existed in before the internet does not exist. It does not exist. It exists for the older generation and partial for us as well. Like we're a part of that very, very specific generation that had an analog childhood and became adults in the digital age. So we're in the transition phase. But
early adopters.
Exactly. But there's no monoculture. It's a whole polyculture right now with all these very, very specific channels. And it's also, I want to say, because things have become, because of AI slop and this overthinking on how to game the algorithm and whatnot, it's kind of dirtied the idea of YouTube a little bit right now. But when I was thinking about this as a topic, I actually remember the golden era of YouTube, and I kind of think it's still there.
It's relatively new. Like, the mad thing about YouTube for me is I think it's been around forever and ever and ever, but I think it was only 2008 that YouTube appeared. Before that, it was like M Player or whatever. You'd have to get video QuickTime for trailers and stuff. That's how you'd see them. But do you know what? In terms of trailers, the AI stuff has made searching that stuff on YouTube miserable. Because
absolutely,
something will come up on social media where it's like new trailers come out. Just recently, it was the He-Man trailer.
It was the He-Man. Yeah, because I Googled it and I went, hang on a sec. It took me like 10 seconds to realize this is AI.
Hundreds of thousands of views, and you just get duped into watching them and thinking, what the fuck is this shit? I hate that stuff. But we're all in such specific ecosystems that I bet even between you and me, I'm going to suggest people that you've never heard of, and you're going to do the same for me, because I asked our patrons to send some suggestions, and even those guys were listing out channels that I'd never heard of, and I was like clicking through them and thinking, oh, that's fascinating, I'm going to subscribe to them. But YouTube for me is my favorite app right now, if you can call it an app. What can you call it? I don't know what to call these things.
Platform.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to say it. I prefer YouTube to Netflix. I prefer YouTube to terrestrial telly, even though they do very specific things. But I watch a ton of YouTube. You get stuff on there that you can't get anywhere else. There is a parasocial element. I mean, I don't find myself glomming onto people, but I do find myself being interested in what people are doing with their lives. Like, I follow a lot of renovation channels.
Yeah.
And I love it. Oh, I love it. Well, you wouldn't, because you've just gone through the whole experience of that. But for me, I'll talk about it when we get into our list. But there's a few channels that I watch them all the time. That they update once a week, and one of the things I love about YouTube is the process stuff. It's people just getting into the nitty gritty of they're trying to tile a bathroom and they've never done it before, and I'll just watch that for 20 minutes. I think this is better than the movie.
Yeah,
but yeah,
or
it's mad.
There's ones as well for me where it's like there's people who do like little travel videos. And they say, right, okay, I'm stopping in this little town in the Midwest, and they just go in, they just chat to people and say, it's okay if I I'm just doing this travel show, and they chat to the locals and they find out about that specific town, and it's like a little travelogue, and it's really specific, but there's something very calming about it.
I saw one, and I cannot remember the name of it now, but maybe it'll jog the memory for some people out there. But it was a guy who went to a ghost town. It's a town that would have been thriving when it was a silver mining town, we'll say. And now it's all sort of fallen by the wayside, and the population's got quite older, and the younger people have all moved away. It's just their parents are left behind. I find those things even like fascinating as settings for stories. But in order to create the sense that the town is still thriving, he went through the town council and ended up set dressing the shop window fronts to make them look like there's stuff going on. So it would be an antique store, and he put certain antiques in the window, and a dress store, and he'll put certain mannequins with dresses, and it just changes the look of it.
Yeah.
And I find that's the stuff that you just wouldn't get commissioned on TV, and it wouldn't be in a film, and it's so niche and specific. But that's what the joy of YouTube. It would just take you down these tiny little rabbit holes where suddenly I'm watching a video about a guy that is creating the facade of a busy town that doesn't exist anymore in order to create some semblance of normality for the people that still live there.
Yeah.
So we're going to focus on this, taking the Markiplier news and pick our favorite 3 YouTubers, either channels or creators or even just videos. I don't know what way you've gone with this, but I thought we would just go that route.
Yeah, that's the way I've thought about it. I ended up kind of like just making a really long list and kind of going through the channels that I subscribe to and try and compile, okay, these are the ones I avidly put these videos on my watch list. I will watch them as soon as I see a new video hit the feed. I'm putting that onto my watch list. And so I'm kind of just curated it that way, but also there's a couple that seem to have dropped off the radar, but their videos are still up there, and I still absolutely loved the stuff that they made. And it's interesting the kind of the patterns that I have found myself veering towards, which I suppose it highlights my own interests and fetishes in a weird way.
Because when you're right up close with something, you don't really see the pattern, but when you step back and you look at your subscriber list, you get to see a sense of yourself. There's a picture forms. So I was looking through all mine and going like, oh, I didn't realize I had a very specific type of video that I keep clicking subscribe on and wanting more of that.
And I find that even when I click on unfortunately, even when I'm on my homepage, let's say on my YouTube, because I've subscribed to a lot of news and US late night talk show hosts, my feed is just drenched in current affairs stuff.
I made the mistake of subscribing to the Midas Touch podcast once because they did a call to action thing, which was like, hey, right-wing bullshit is all over the place. Please subscribe to support independent, whatever, progressive news. As soon as I clicked to that, it was just 90% of my subscription feed was just Midas Touch releases, because they put up videos, I think, every hour. And then that just led to everything else. And I opened up my subscriber page there just before Christmas, and it was just full of fucking Donald Trump's face. And it's
exactly what you want to see.
It's exactly what you want to see. But there's 2 things I wanted to talk about with you about YouTube. Because aside from it being fascinating that YouTubers have now moved into the film space, because we've had a few YouTubers now recently become legitimate filmmakers.
Yes.
So you had Chris Stuckman, who's a film critic. He just made that film Shelby Oaks.
Yeah.
You had the Philippou brothers that did Talk to Me and Bring Her Back. They started on YouTube.
Yeah.
You have Corey Barker. He did a film that made waves last year, or was it the year before, called Milk and Cereal. It was an $800 found footage thing. And he's just had another film that did quite well. I think it was at Toronto, called Obsession. Got really good reviews. So you've got these people that are moving in to that space. But also YouTube now is becoming the de facto place for the future of the entertainment business. Like, it is eating the lunch of the terrestrial channels. Like the fact that the Oscars is moving from ABC now to YouTube, which personally I think is brilliant, because I'll get to be able to see it rather than fucking trying to use all these different workarounds to try and watch the Oscars. So what do you think about that? Do you think YouTube is the future?
Well, YouTube is here. YouTube is the now for an entire generation. My fear is the AI slop.
Darren Aronofsky's just put out a fucking trailer for...
I watched it. It was atrocious. I watched it. It was absolutely atrocious. That was for Time magazine. They're doing something to commemorate the anniversary of the foundation of America. If people are starting to embrace that, like Aronofsky, or I think at least his company did, I think that's what it was, and Time magazine.
Disney have announced that they're going to be introducing AI to their Disney channels, their Disney output at the end of this year. They're fully embracing it. Do you remember there was that backlash when they had AI was used to do the opening titles to Secret Wars, was it? The Marvel
Secret
show?
Wars, yeah.
And there was huge pushback, and now they're fully embracing it. They've licensed their characters so people can do AI stuff.
I genuinely feel that the success or failure of these things all come down to the user, to the people who are clicking on it, to the people who are buying a ticket. And if enough people say, I don't want that, and it doesn't actually bed itself into the culture, then you'll quickly watch companies just quietly back away, finds the new latest thing. That's my only hope.
Kind of, but they did this thing with plastic, where in the late 70s, the oil companies put the onus back on the public and said that they lied to the public. They told them that plastic could be recycled. And they started doing advertising campaigns, which was make sure you recycle your plastic, play your part. Don't throw your plastic away. It's on you to recycle your plastic. Meanwhile, they knew they couldn't recycle plastic and that 90% of it all went into a landfill. But by convincing the public that they were responsible for the plastic waste rather than them themselves, it just allowed them to just keep pumping out plastic, when we were much better off with cardboard, paper, and glass and tin. That was all recyclable material. It wasn't detrimental to our physical health and the environmental health, but they flipped it back on us. And if the AI companies start telling us that it's down to the users to not use this stuff, it's not really. It's on them. They're the ones that are pumping this shit out there, and you can easily convince people to accept this stuff. Yeah. So I think they also have a responsibility to sort that out.
Good luck with that.
And governments who have to then mandate this stuff and make it legal or illegal to do one or the other. There's a responsibility with those who are in power to actually institute laws.
But my personal connection to this stuff is that I was working on a project during lockdown. It started before lockdown. It continued through lockdown. It was a really good project. Like, I loved it. I don't know what's happening with it. There was about 5 producers on it. So you're constantly having to deal with the different personalities of different producers chiming in, giving different notes. People that have made some big movies, like proper, movies with stars and Oscar nominated and what have you. But there was one producer on it who always gave the shittest notes. They were so stupid. They were really, really stupid notes. And I was lucky that I had a development person and the main producer that would push back on that and would keep defending the material and defending the project and sort of like steering them off it. But it was like, oh my God, Christ, imagine if I was just me, myself up against that guy. It would be a fucking disaster. It would be all over the place. It was just nonsense talk. I heard that guy then on a podcast about a year ago praising the future of AI and that he was doing a company that was specifically driven by AI projects and he was going to be making AI films. Oh, and this was when it was the Will Smith eating spaghetti shit. And I thought, wow, the person that had the worst taste was now pursuing something where taste didn't matter at all. There was no human component to it. Let's hope YouTube doesn't do that. Yeah.
Well, there's so much of this stuff on YouTube as it is. So it's making it harder and harder to find the good stuff that I used to love going to YouTube for. The stuff that was surprised me and made me feel that shit, the best things that I can watch right now, kind of from a kind of a quirky or interesting or a funny perspective, is on this platform. Just these people who have their original voices and are competent either storytellers or able to communicate their message or idea or whatever it is, are a little basically like documentary filmmakers in their own weird and very specific and niche way. That was a place I would go to YouTube for that. And I just don't feel like it's doing that for me now. But a lot of those content creators are still there. You just can't see them. They're getting kind of drowned. They're getting drowned out by the flood of all this other stuff. Rubbish.
That's why you gotta subscribe. As soon as you see something you like, hit subscribe. Smack that bell.
Yeah. So I had basically, when I started curating my list of YouTube channels, 3 topics or 3 genres of channels.
This is going to be very difficult, I think, to whittle it down because I've got 24 listed here. Now, obviously, I've grouped them together because a lot of them follow the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I've had to do too. Yeah.
Do you want to go first? I'd say honorable mentions. Just throw out some that you like, but they're not going to be in your top 3.
Oh shit!
Or do you want me to go first, and I'll do that?
Do you know what? Do some, because I'm going to have honorable mentions within the actual groupings, if you know what I mean. So you do your honorable mentions, and then I'll have sub honorable mentions within mine. Yeah. So go on, do that.
You mentioned fetishes. I'm going to get my first fetish out of the way, and as anyone that's been listening to the Patreon episodes, they'll know I do like ASMR. I'm one of those weird bastards that enjoys that stuff. And one of my favorite ASMR videos, and I was just listening to it before we came on, it sort of relaxes me. It's ASMR, paper therapy, writing, sorting, and unintelligible whisper. By ASMR Sense. It's an hour-long video. I'd say I've listened to it probably about 50 times. It's on in the background. It's on in the background while I'm writing and stuff.
Right. Because
I can't write listening to music. And I can't write listening to podcasts, obviously. I can't. And this stuff is just somebody just turning pages and taking sticky tapes and putting them down. And I feel like I'm in a library. And I have it on just slightly low enough in the background. And I'm not into the ASMR, which is all like mouth sounds and stuff and clacking and people doing fucking role play where they're like pretending that you're at a doctor's surgery and stuff. I used to like a Japanese woman that would be talking in Japanese while she'd be reading magazines and stuff. I just like that stuff. It just regulates my heart rate. So that's not going to be in my top 3, but I thought I'd mention it because it's true to me and like, you know.
That's good. It's really specific. It's very specific. I don't think I would. It's definitely not on my list. I think this is going to be one of these lists, one of these chats where we're going to have very few overlaps, and we might learn a bit something new about each other as well, which is exciting. Is that one? Would you want me to, or just more?
No, can I go through a few more because these are all I'm just going to shit them out like this.
Go on.
There's a guy called Kev Collins who basically exists.
It's like me and you together.
Oh, there we go.
Ebony and Ivory, go on.
He's like our love child.
You don't have to sell Cork to me, boy. I think it's one of the most important places in the world.
I have a feeling that at one time, Cork was a real European capital. It's ceased to be that, and the problem now is how it's going to recreate a life for itself. A life in which a man can live completely from the cradle to the grave.
I want Cork to be a beacon, not just for Ireland, but for what a small European city can be.
So Kev Collins from Cork, he's on a rampage to get rid of the Cork Council, and I love it. I love it because he's dead right. Like, he is laying into the city council for all of the terrible decisions that they make in terms of doing the bare minimum to Cork City, like having exposed steel for lampposts rather than painting them, or like they just redid Bishop Lucy's Park in Cork. The only green space that we have in Cork, it was a lovely little green patch in the city centre, and they've basically just turned it into a brutalist, bricked over, horrible, like, courtyard that is depressing. And he lays out what could have been done there, and it's like, fuck's sake, why can't this guy be in the council? But obviously, the council positions, they're not elected. It's all bureaucracy and bullshit. But his videos are fantastic if you're from Cork like me. But he'll break your fucking heart because he'll show you what we could have, but we can't have.
Yeah.
And it's not disappointing because of what's there, but because of what's not. A real missed opportunity.
I love his channel, so I thought I'd mention him.
Can I jump in and I'll stick one in there because I don't think it fits into one of my categories, so I think this would be a good chance to stick it in. One that I subscribe to and I love because they just keep producing or putting up interesting content is the BBC Archive YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm subscribed to that.
I adore that because it's just old documentary style, just archival footage of just normal life where it's the most eclectic of subjects. So you could have a video on, I remember one that just captivated me about a guy his name was Steeplejack Fred or something like that. And his job was to go up, to deconstruct these huge smoke towers, these steeple chimneys.
Smokestacks, yeah.
Yeah, smokestacks. They'd be hundreds of feet tall. And it was a
take it down
solo
brick by
job.
brick?
He would go up brick by brick. And it would take him months to do. And it was like one of those jobs that he would just go up and even watching him...
All for £2 a week.
Yeah. It was... And so you get like, and I find myself clicking into these because sometimes you'll get like some old Barry Norman like videos of him reviewing movies, or you just get random stuff about, okay, this is what it's like to drive after drinking 10 pints of alcohol. And you see people randomly just running over dummies of children and shit like that. Maybe we shouldn't drink 10 pints, chaps. It's very funny.
I watched one the other day that was so misogynistic, but it was like this guy that was like,
girls. Tall girls, short girls, fat girls, thin girls, ugly girls and pretty girls. Tarts and floozes, nymphomaniacs and gangsters, moles. And nice girls, respectable girls, upper middle class girls with good manners and impeccable accents. This is the story of 4 girls. They all live together in one flat, in one square, in one particular part of London. And the story begins with an advertisement in an evening paper.
And then you meet Peggy and and Ethel and Meryl, and they're basically living as flatmates, but they're out trying to find a husband. It's like in the 1960s, a black and white thing. Yeah. And it was fascinating to see how they were describing, like, they're in their late 20s and they haven't found a husband yet. The clock is ticking, ladies. Time to get a move on.
It's probably their little time portals. That's what I find about watching these old videos.
There was another brilliant one about a market, the Carnaby market that's gone. That was fascinating.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I will just randomly click on these videos and be transported someplace else. I find it very calming. It's fascinating. I love subscribing to that because they're always dropping something that's odd and interesting.
It's reeling in the years, basically.
Kind of.
Remember those videos where they'd be stopping people in Cork, 1984, and they'd be talking about, excuse me, madam, we noticed that you're not wearing your seatbelt.
I got a medical complaint. I think it's a waste of time on a short journey.
But most of the accidents happen quite near your home.
I don't like them. I feel very restricted with them.
But you are breaking the law by not wearing it.
I know that, yeah. I take a chance, don't I? Yeah.
And you could also be injured. Does that not worry you?
I try not to think about it.
I think that if I had an accident, I'd get out quicker without
it. It's funny to see how stupid people were in the past.
There was one about black magic.
Did you ever see the one about the what did I call them? They were like the grotto. Something that happened where a kid had seen the grotto move or something, and it was in Cork somewhere.
I was at it. Balance.
Were you? Yeah.
Yes. I was there. I was at the moving statue. I was there.
Was that 1980 or something like that?
1985, I would say. So it was.
People went fucking mental for that. They were coming in their droves to go and see the fucking moving statue.
Yeah, I remember.
Mass psychosis.
It was wintertime, and I remember my parents saying, kind of because it was like this like again this phenomenon that apparently this statue of the Holy Mary had moved in this grotto in Ballinspittle. Now it was in Cork, but it was West Cork, and we're up Northwest Cork. It sounds like they're right beside each other, but if you look on a map of Ireland, Northwest Cork and West Cork are very far away from each other. There is like a 2-hour drive. So they bundle us into this car and says, "Go on, we'll go down to Ballinspittle." Freezing. And we all went down to this grotto, and I just have this memory of parking up, dark, and it was wet, and we walked into, into like a country road, and there was just loads of people, and there was floodlights out and all that sort of stuff. and just this random group of people saying the Hail Mary and all that sort of stuff. And of course, like, you're staring up
and
at
wasn't this all, it was like children, you know what children are like. They just made it up.
For 2 weeks now, the claimed phenomenon has drawn crowds of 8 or so thousand each evening to the grotto on the edge of the little village, after 2 local ladies saw what they took to be movement in the statue. And as the word spread, the crowds grew. Now a 24-hour vigil is kept up, and a local committee has had to be established to control the crowds which travel from all over the country every evening.
But you see, it was like, again, other people were going, oh, I saw her move, and all this sort of business. So it was a kind of some people are saying, I saw her move, something. And you know what I mean? It was like one of these, as you said, this mass hysteria sort of stuff. And people were standing beside. It was just mad.
But this is where, you know, it's odd now. Like, we're middle-aged now at this stage. You don't really notice your age until you look back on things that went on when you were a kid or much younger. And if that happened today, it just wouldn't happen. So all these traditions and these things that you would do, it just feels like it's from an ancient fucking civilization. In fact, that everyone will go down to a grotto because they think the statue's moved. And that would be considered normal.
Yeah.
On Thursday night, I saw a lady sway forward until I thought that the statue would fall down. And then on Friday night, I saw a lady's face change the face of our Lord.
And while our cameraman thought he saw movement and trying to shoot it, his camera saw nothing. On videotape, the statue is immobile.
And it was kind of like, of course it's going to happen. And kids, we better go down because this is like a historic event. This is a happening. We better be there. This would be a cool... Now, I can remember my parents...
She winked at me. I saw her. She winked.
Yeah. But I remember looking at it going, if you stare at anything long enough, of course it's going to fucking move because you've got flies in your eyes and the wind is blowing on at you, you know. And if you stare intensely at something long enough, it's going to shift a little bit and whatnot. And I remember just staring, going, please move, please move, please move. Yeah.
What was that joke in The Simpsons where Mr. Burns is watching the play and the curtain goes up and he goes, focus! Because he thinks he's watching a cinema screen. Imagine all these old people with glaucoma watching it. I haven't put any podcasts on my list. You know, visual podcast.
No. Because I'm specifically going for YouTube specific things. This is what I'm trying
stuff which isn't like an ancillary aspect to it.
You're not going to find it somewhere else and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay. So I love things being made. As I was saying, I love renovation stuff. There's a few of those. There's these 2 British guys that have been doing up a house while they're living in it called Bricks and Disorder. Very fun. They don't know what they're doing and they just acid wash the front of the house. They're trying to sell the house this year. I love watching them. Jenna Phipps.
We bought our abandoned home almost 2 years ago, and before we hit the 2-year mark, we want to move in. So this past week, we have been doing everything we can to make that happen.
This couple in Oregon, they've bought this house that's on a beautiful little spot that's overlooking the mountains. It was a wreck. It was like something out of Mad Men. It was like one of those like flat top houses that is pretty much glass on one side. They had to demo the whole thing and build it back up, and they're just tiling the floors at the moment, and I just love watching them. It's like they got a lot of tiles and they're putting them in, and it's something very relaxing about it. They come out every week. They're like 20-25 minute videos, and sometimes something goes wrong and sometimes they get stuff that goes their way, and it's great. There's another guy called Chris Hytha, Hytha.
Oh, hey there. Welcome back to the project. Renovating this 1857 Philadelphia row home, and good news. We got some trim. And more good news. I got tile. Wow.
He's got a row house and he's been fixing it up by himself. And I just watch him put in the bathroom and fixing his doors and stuff. And he's chatting away to you and he's designing things and he's finding new posts that he wants to put in and finding stuff on Facebook Marketplace. It's just a whole thing that you wouldn't see anywhere else. Yeah. So I love that. And then the other aspect of YouTube that I am obsessed with and I just watch nonstop, and these are some of my favorite videos, but they're not in my list here, are woodworking videos. I fucking love fellas making cabinets and tables and kitchen countertops and jewelry boxes and all these like entertainment centers and things. Blacktail Studios is great.
This is the most expensive piece of wood that I've ever had the privilege of working with. This is a giant slab of old-growth redwood that retailed for about $7,200 and is from a tree that's like 1,000 years old, so there is a little bit of pressure to get this right.
He usually makes epoxy tables, but he's gotten divorced. He's left his beautiful house. He's bought a rundown house. He's trying to do that up, and he's also making stuff. Four Eyes is another one. This guy that makes this incredible furniture.
Hello, I'm Chris. I design and build high-end custom furniture for a living, and I make videos about it.
Alm Fab, another guy from Oregon that makes these kitchen cabinets, and he just had a baby, and he's like making stuff for his wife, and they're just artisans. They just create these things. I never could. I don't even own a chisel, but I love watching fellas make stuff with wood.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite ones at the moment is Fortress Fine Woodwork.
It always excites me when we get to build a really nice piece. Because we have had a problem. And it's about dang time to fix it.
This guy had some substance abuse issues. He struggled with addiction for a long time, and he's gone out on his own, going full-time on YouTube, making furniture and making things. And like, I didn't realize how expensive lumber is, but you can buy a slab of lumber for about 40,000, and then you're making something out of it that you sell for 70,000. And these guys are making these big tables and stuff. So I love those channels, and I watch them religiously, but they're not in my top 3.
That's so cool. So you're talking about, that's interesting. So you have that niche interest of like watching people make things. And one of my interests, without question, is video gaming. And I used to be able to play a lot more video games than I do now. Unfortunately, once you have children, that spare time is otherwise occupied. And now I get to watch kind of Luke play FIFA and all that sort of stuff. But there was a period where I got to play loads of video games. But I love the medium. I think video games have been amazing. And some of the best entertainment, and it really, I can see why it's captivated a whole generation, because I've been captivated by video games throughout the years, just haven't been able to play as much recently. But I can see from my creation, I still watch video game channels. There are some video game channels that I really watched. I remember watching you're talking about like watching someone play a video game. And I remember when Minecraft first came out. Now, Minecraft is a global phenomenon. But I was there when Minecraft wasn't a
great movie
phenomenon.
as well.
It's a brilliant movie. The game Minecraft is actually fantastic. And I think I encourage young people to play Minecraft because it's like Lego. It's like having Lego for kids. And it's encouraging invention, creativity, fun. You can make systems within that game. There's a whole like almost like electronics elements to that game, which is so good for problem solving and whatnot.
I heard recently that all engineers that are, going through the engineering school and becoming engineers, they were all Lego children.
Oh, that makes sense.
I wonder whether, because Minecraft is relatively new, isn't it? It's only 10 years old or something like that.
A bit more. We're probably going on 15 years now, I'd say. Maybe actually more than 15,
so it's only just one generation.
Yeah.
But I wonder whether the Minecraft generation will go on to become something, or whether AI will just stymie that. But the fact that engineers were Lego children, I wonder what Minecraft children will be.
It's very interesting. Like there's so many different things you can do within Minecraft. You can just go crazy and just go smashing things and join servers and just go on adventures, or you can go and actually create your own pieces of art. You can be very, very creative in it.
Because I was a burn my toys child.
There you go. Well, you would love Minecraft because they were like these mods where you just have like mega TNT or little atom bombs and see how much of the world you can destroy and stuff like that. And it's kind of fascinating to see the physics of it. We're now in an era where we have kids watching people play YouTube videos, and we see the person's on half the screen. They're like, "Oh my god!" and overreacting and whatnot. When Minecraft first came out, I think I watched one of those videos and loved it. Right, and it wasn't a screamy head person. In fact, it was a very, very calming person called Paul Suarez Jr.
Hey, what's going on, Survivors? Paul Suarez Jr. here. Today is November 27th, 2012. This is just going to be a very casual Let's Play solo survival, and I'm typing that without even seeing the keyboard. Mrs. Love, my high school typewriting teacher, would be very proud right there. Paul plays Minecraft, again, casual Let's Play, vanilla Minecraft. Let's get the world started, see what she's got.
When Minecraft came out, there was no instruction manual. And in fact, there was no kind of tutorial to it whatsoever. You really, really had to figure it out on your own. It's not as handheld as it is now. And this guy called Paul Suarez, who was an American dude, the game was made by Danish developers, I'm pretty sure. He just started making YouTube videos where he says, "Okay, folks," and he was Midwestern American, very calm voice. And he says, "Okay, folks."
That's ASMR.
It's ASMR. Today we're going to survive our first night in Minecraft. Now, what we got to do, and he would like create little characters. He would say, "Here's a little pig. Hey, piggy pig, I'm going to call you Pig the Pigsaur. Okay, pig, come on over here." And he made the experience of learning how to play Minecraft so relaxing, so calming. He'd show you how to build a wee house. And you build
it's
your
like
little
Bob
house.
Ross, the painter guy, where he'd be like, let's take some raw sienna. And,
yeah. He said, "Come back next time." Yeah, come back next time. We're going to build a farm onto our little house. He was like, "Oh, I want to see him build a farm." And he goes and builds a nice little cute farm. It was all very, very calming.
Basically play school videos for grown-ups.
Kind of, yeah. And I remember playing Minecraft and trying to mimic his, designs and stuff like that, and learning how to do stuff via him. And I think actually, Notch, the guy who created Minecraft in the beginning, he actually was in direct contact with this dude Paul and said, "Yeah, please keep more. We love these videos. Please keep making more of them." So it was this very much a organic. It was before monetization or like big monetization. It's just this organic. A guy really liked this game. He just recorded himself playing this game and was really good at explaining how to create this game, but also created this very, very calming, relaxed, enjoyable kind of space. They were very, and he's now doing other videos, and he still has a channel out there and whatnot. I loved his video. Now that's not my one. This is kind of an honorable mention. I also love a channel called Outside Xbox. This is a British channel, and these ones are much more media savvy.
Video games are an interactive medium. You're not going to find a video game that you can complete just by sitting quietly at a table and not moving.
Fabulous. Well, come on, let's go.
I mean, okay, apart from that one.
So they were game journalists.
So they're taking the place of, like, what was that Channel 4 show, or was it ITV show that used to be on Saturday mornings? It was something, it wasn't videos, movies, games, videos or something like that, but there was something.
Imagine that.
There was a game show.
It was like a game. So they started off as like a type of game show, and they were like an official thing. Then they lost their job. Whatever company had them fired them, right? So they just went, "Oh, we'll just do our own thing." So they created their own little channel, and there was 3 of them, but then they had to kind of added on a couple of more hosts to it, and they make like professional TV shows, but it's all been on YouTube, and they've had these like sub little channels and sub YouTube channels, and they're such nice hosts and just nice to be around, and the content that they create is so well made. I just love clicking on their channels and just hanging out with them. They're funny. And some of them have gone off to create like their own specific channels. Like there's one dude who's really into cars and driving, and he's like, actually, he did a whole YouTube channel on him buying his first touring car and doing touring competitions and stuff like that, which is a slight sidestep into me interested in cars and racing and whatnot. And another guy who was incredibly funny, my favorite one, he was a guy that they brought in years later, went off and he does his own music and he does his own videos, and he was always so funny. He was just such a genuinely nice, not obnoxious, not cynical, just a nice, upbeat, funny guy. And when I watch him play video games, I always am just having a fun time because he's a nice guy. And I can't remember his name now. But the channel is called Outside Xbox. They're a great channel. My pick, okay, I'm going to give you my first pick, right?
Number
my
3.
Favorite YouTube. My number 3.
Number 3.
Okay?
Number 3.
This is coming under the sub grouping of like my video game interest in video games and whatnot. This is a channel created by an Irish guy called Danny O'Dwyer.
Hello folks, how you doing? Danny here from the a channel formerly known as No Clip Crew. I don't know, it's probably still going to be called that by the time this goes up.
And Danny O'Dwyer started off as a video game journalist. He got a job in an American company called GameSpot. I think he was with GameSpot for a while, or big, not GameSpot, the store, but anyway, he was a video game journalist. But he used on GameSpot or GameStop, I think it was GameSpot it was called, he used to make his own little video game documentaries. And they were class. I remember watching him going, geez, this guy's really good.
Irish grey-haired, love of video games, follow this channel to watch stuff we film around the No Clip studio and beyond.
Yeah.
So
he makes long-form documentaries.
James, on our Discord, when I asked our patrons, he said No Clip was one of his.
Ah, okay.
So this guy is from No Clip? Or it is No Clip?
Yeah, this is No Clip. This is him. Oh. So Danny O'Dwyer went off when they were all fired by their big conglomerate company. This guy said, well, I really like doing my long-form little documentaries. And he set up this whole channel, this company called No Clip, to make long-form documentaries about video games. And they're done with a budget in the sense that they go and they seek out the creators of games from 40 years ago and they interview them. They're well constructed, well put together, shot on location. And, these are projects that go on for years and years. But they're done with seriousness, and it's taking the medium and the form as it should be, which is kind of like, a real serious investment emotionally, financially, and
of course
professionally for all these people. And it's really cool to actually get when you actually can put faces to the names of the people who've made these games, because it's basically like behind the scenes making of documentaries that we used to love about movies. But this is about the video games, and you hear the stories, mad stories. And he went and did this brilliant one about Dundee in Scotland, and how Dundee and this small group of computer enthusiasts kind of spawned an entire, $1 billion empire, with the various little companies that kind of emerged from that group of friends that used to meet in a stinky, clubhouse. And he does that sort of proper historical documentary work on that medium, which no one else really does or has much interest in, but he's excellent. He's really, really good. And I'm glad he's Irish as well. So I want to give him my recommendation.
So we're already in totally separate ecosystems. So that none of that stuff would have ever popped up on my feed. So I never would have known that. And I assume from what I was saying, the ones I was talking about, you don't know any of those people. They never popped up on your feed.
No, of course not. Not a chance.
Isn't it mad though? It's like we all have our own TVs and our own channels. Like, imagine just having a TV where if you didn't watch certain channels, they'd disappear and other ones would pop up. And suddenly it's like the sky is gone and instead you've got Captain Midnight.
Captain Midnight. Oh my God, yeah, he's still on the go, isn't he?
Whenever I talk about theatrical movie releases versus straight-to-streaming ones, I know there's a tendency in the comments to make the point that some of you don't like going to the theater anymore and would prefer to be able to stay home and just see everything available to them right away.
He is, and he's raging against Jimmy Fallon. I think it's Jimmy Fallon. God, he can't stand Jimmy Fallon. So it's always funny when a Jimmy Fallon video comes up. I love those little niche things. There's a lot of channels that I'm already forgetting. There was one that was all on Star Trek. It was a guy that would get incredibly niche on Star Trek, and I can't remember what it is now. He would go into like the ships, like the outline of the ships, the different, lovely. Like where the toilets were on the Enterprise D or all that kind of stuff. Really, really detailed stuff. And he'd do walkthroughs of the ships, and he designed like what they look like in different corridors, how you'd go down the steps here. Like the Enterprise D had stairs.
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah. Captain Disillusion, he hasn't posted for a long time, but he's brilliant. He's the guy that would debunk these sort of viral videos.
Yeah.
And he wears like a yellow jacket and half his face is silver. He was
great. Well worth watching. Those videos are still there, and it's just they're well worth watching because they're so well made, and it's like seeing behind the curtain and kind of going, hang on a second, this is bullshit, and I'll tell you why it's bullshit.
Yeah. So I've got like I don't know which one to go with. Number three. So I'm going to go with the smaller creator that's much more niche.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what the alternative is. The alternative is a massive channel that maybe everybody is aware of. Maybe you're aware of it too, but it's the B1M channel. Have you heard of that?
Never heard of it.
This is somewhere no human being was ever meant to go. Deep in the foothills of the Himalayas, temperatures near Risi vary in the extremes, dropping from 50 degrees Celsius all the way down to freezing. Everywhere you look, jagged cliff faces create these deep, dangerous canyons. You can imagine the challenge faced by crews attempting to build a record-breaking bridge here.
We love construction, and we want the whole world to love it too. Hosted by Fred Mills, the B1M is the world's largest, most subscribed to, and the best video channel for construction. So he will go and he'll do videos on the biggest bridge in the world, or the highest building in the world, or a new stadium that's being built. These are like cutting-edge architectural buildings, and they'll get deep into them. So all this kind of like insider stuff that's fascinating. Then he'll go into like how they built, somewhere in China built this incredible subway system, and or dams being built or demolishing certain buildings. They're so well produced. They're really slick. Like they could be on TV. They're that well made. But it's probably like he's got. That's actually not that many. 3.92 million subscribers. I thought they would more than that.
I'm subscribing to things as you're chatting. That's what I'm doing. I'm like going, that's
good.
I want to watch that.
That's what I'm hoping to get out of this. That we'll actually start recommending stuff to each other.
And I want to change. I want to update my feed. I want YouTube to look interesting to me again. So that's really cool. I love that.
But the one that I'm probably going to pick is my number 3. So that would be, if I was going to go down that route, the more obvious one. There's a channel called Technology Connections.
Okay. I'm really puzzled by something. It's 2026, believe it or not, and even though we live in this modern digital world where we can ask our smart assistants to close the blinds for us, we're still excited about finding oil. That feels weird to me.
You're talking about that guy that did the video games for Minecraft, and he's very relaxing, the way that he talks.
Paul's, yeah.
So this guy, I don't know his name. I don't know anything about him other than that he just sits at a desk. Look up Technology Connections. He sits at a desk and he will just go deep into the most niche things like a boiler system or old Christmas lights. Like the fact that modern Christmas lights are LED and they don't have the same glow that they used to have in the past.
I like that.
And he will spend a full fucking hour on trying to replicate the light that you would get from old Christmas lights. And he'll go into the different brands, the different makers, the different types of bulbs, the different connection systems, or he'll go into modern technology to do with like wind turbines and stuff. But very recently, or like stuff on kettles, different kettle designs, they're very, very niche and nerdy, and it's all about old technology and the fact that you would have a toaster that would still last 40 years if it was made in the 80s, but a toaster today would only last about 2 years, and then you've got a built-in obsolescence. But he's got this sort of very relaxing way of speaking, and he will just go through everything in a really teacherly kind of way. But very recently he had a video that was all about renewable technology. It's like a 90-minute video, and the last 20 minutes of it he just gets straight into talking about fascism and about what's going on in the States, and about how we're being lied to, and that we have all this technology at our disposal that solves all of our problems. It's not that we need to figure this stuff out. We've already figured it out, but we're not being allowed to implement it because we're being lied to and we're being controlled by oil companies and lobbyists and what have you. So we're being convinced that renewable technology is expensive, awkward, hard to implement. In fact, it's cheaper for people. It's renewable, like the fact that we're still using cars where you've got to fill up fuel and it's a one-time use fuel. But at the very end of it, he goes on a 20-minute sort of tirade about the Trump administration and stuff. And it's really earnest. And he's from Minnesota, so, it's where all that stuff was happening with ICE. And it's just a small creator that is very niche that I don't think people would stumble onto unless you're told to give him a go. but hyper specific. Like, I'm not interested in Christmas lights, but I find it fascinating when somebody's so nerdy about them, just get caught up in it. It's like, that's fascinating. I never thought about that. Every time his videos pop up, I find them a delight just to sit there and watch them and just...
I've subscribed to two. There's two more additions to my subscribers list, and that's really good. And it kind of neatly kind of segues into another kind of my other grouping, which is kind of like almost like that, more about learning, curiosity, information, history type stuff, which I am all for. Like I just yesterday actually found a YouTube channel called Veritasium, they've been going for years. Yeah, but I only discovered it yesterday. I was like, oh my god, this is just perfect and type of stuff that I want. And I watched a video about the Ice King and this guy.
You just discovered it as the main guy is stepping down from the channel. He's been doing it for 10 years, and he just put out a video saying that he's going to be stepping back. He started off when it was just himself, and now they have a staff of about 40 around the world.
It's incredible.
They do all the videos. Veritasium are brilliant.
I watched one yesterday about the Ice King, and I just went, "Oh God, where have you been? Why haven't I
What's
learned
the Ice
about
King?
This recently?" The Ice King was this fascinating video about how basically ice. When did that become a commodity? And how one guy figured out, basically invested his entire money, went to almost completely bust up with this idea that he could sell ice to the Caribbean. But it was like, as everyone knew, well, ice melts.
To the Caribbean?
To the hot, basically to hot areas. He said, I can transport ice and sell ice as a commodity. And basically invented a ship that would be able to transport ice without melting, to hot destinations. And it changed once. It was the origin of refrigeration. And once refrigeration became a thing, then all different sorts of industries opened up. Like, all of a sudden you could get fruits and vegetables that are made in a warm climate. You can get them sold in a cold climate, at any time of the year. It revolutionized how we consume things. And it was down to this guy who actually took the idea of how they actually held onto ice in the desert. So how did ancient they had like civilizations, cultures in the desert had ice, even in the height of summer. And what they did was, in the wintertime, they would make a little patch, like a little pool in the ground, and just pour some water into a little kind of area that would freeze at night. This is in wintertime, in their wintertime. It would freeze at night, and then they had these very specific buildings made, which had very, very thick walls and went down really deep, and they packed the ice like tightly together in this specific building that ventilated the hot air out but kept the cool air down. And once you pack ice together,
it just continues to keep itself cold.
Exactly, and also is using the principle. When it snows, the last thing you see melting after a snowfall is snowmen. It's because snowmen are packed together. It's packed together ice. And it's not losing it's keeping itself cold on the inside. So that's why snowmen last for longer. So this guy took that principle and tried to replicate it to be able to, sell ice in hot areas. And he did it.
It's fascinating, like stuff that, why should I know that? But it's on the internet. And
but it's interesting to know it. And that's why I have this whole subgroup of like just fascinating, informative YouTube channels. I used to love the stuff that the Green Brothers did. The Green Brothers made. They had a whole YouTube channel of like crash course videos. John Green, who wrote all those YA books. He's a big author. So the Green Brothers are huge YouTubers. There were two brothers called John and I can't remember the other guy's name actually, but they became famous because they lived in different parts of the country, but they would do a vlog to each other. Yeah. They would do vlogs, and they still do vlog videos to each other twice a week, where they would address the other person and said, "Hi, John. Hi, whatever it is." And like the most recent
they called the Vlog Brothers?
They're called the Vlog Brothers. Yeah, I think they might be the Vlog Brothers.
Good morning, John. It's Wednesday.
But they're very, very earnest. They're very, very heartfelt and interesting guys. But in about 10 years ago, in the mid-2010s, they created a whole YouTube network of basically public learning channels, which was fucking brilliant. They were like, you know, let me see here. I'm just having a quick. That's them. Yeah, the Vlogbrothers. That's them. So they had like, you know, crash courses on bloody economics, crash courses on astrophysics, crash courses on film studies and whatnot. And these were all really, really highly made videos. I was like, Jesus, these are college courses, introductory college courses to all these things. So the Vlogbrothers have been, I want to champion them because they've been such great bastions of learning and intelligence and empathy out there in the world. They've been great, wonderful figures, I have to say.
There's a channel that you're reminding me of, as you're saying all that speaks to the community aspect of YouTube and sort of the sharing of ideas and help.
Yeah.
Dad, How Do I? It's called. And it's just for all those people that didn't have a dad to say, Dad, how do I change a plug?
God. Right, okay. Yeah.
It is. It's lovely. And he's just like, Dad, how do I change a tire? Just a video.
How we do it.
Yeah.
So there's other guys called, there's this other guy called Wheezy Waiter. And he's been making vlogs for a long time. He's a funny guy. And he just used to do a vlog video where it was just him talking about his life and whatnot. It's very, very funny, very, very relaxing.
Hello, my name is Craig. Or so you think! And today I'm going to talk about imposter syndrome, which is something I feel from time to time, especially leading up to this video. I think I'm about to interview Hugh Jackman and Craig Brewer, the director of Song Sung Blue, and I'm going to try to talk to them about imposter syndrome. I'm feeling very much like an imposter right now. See? And I'm being extra imposter right now. You think I'm sitting down regular. Actually, I got my feet rested on the couch in front of me.
Craig, that guy with the Wheezy Waiter, he actually then started stepping into making like informative, like educational stuff. And he, for a very short time, he had I think he was involved with the Vlogbrothers and did a really good series called The Good Stuff, where it was just basically curiosity videos, but highly well-produced documentary curiosity videos again. That was really good.
This is the title of one of his videos. We tried to spend no money for a month. Here's what happened.
That's what he started to do a lot more of. But I guarantee you, if you actually start watching him, he's such a affable, kind of relaxing personality to be around. You kind of you'll stick around and watch him. And
I've subscribed.
I think he's quite funny. Give him a go. But the one I really want to highlight,
Number two.
a channel that they don't make as many now, but it was absolutely brilliant. And it was called Vsauce.
Take a look at this ball. It's an unremarkable little bouncy ball. It's kind of fun, you know. I can bounce it into this mug. But take a look at what happens if instead of just bouncing it, I lick the ball first.
Right? Have you ever heard of Vsauce?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. It's huge. It was huge. I love Vsauce.
They're still making stuff, though.
Not as many. I'm literally looking on the channel right now, and
I think they might be more on TikTok then.
Okay, I see him like
form.
He's on some sort of with a British BBC science person doing video YouTube stuff.
Yeah, they've got a podcast. The Rest is Science with Hannah Fry.
And they do the most kind of like random interesting videos like what is consciousness? Why do we dream? Did the past really happen? All this sort of stuff. And they're always interesting, educational, fun, slickly produced, slickly presented. And I do think Michael, the presenter, that I can't remember his surname, but he's a really clever guy who just likes learning. And a great channel. If you haven't ever watched any of the stuff, go in there. There's over 12 years of videos I'm seeing here, and all really, really great.
Okay, my number two. My number two is Bobby Fingers.
Today I'm going to show you how I made this Jeff Bezos rowing boat. And if you stick around to the end, I'll make it worth your while.
Bobby Fingers. That's familiar. Why do I know Bobby Fingers?
So Bobby Fingers is one half of the Rubber Bandits.
Oh, yes. Okay. That's why you know Bobby Fingers. Yes.
The Blind Boy Boathouse is the other guy who's got a very successful podcast, and he's an author and stuff, and he's done documentaries for British television and stuff. So Rubber Bandits, they were, I guess, kind of satirical rappers. They blended music with Irish culture and they do funny stuff like make songs about Danny Dyer and stuff like that. So they went their separate ways. They parted, and they've gone out on their own. And Bobby Fingers has a YouTube channel, and he is like one of those Renaissance fellas. He does music. He's a sculptor. He is a brilliant storyteller. His videos are so well edited. He's a model maker and stuff. I discovered him years after he'd launched his channel when he did a diorama of Michael Jackson's head getting set on fire.
Yeah.
And
he does amazing dioramas. There's one of drunk Mel Gibson arrest diorama. So he just...
Yeah. But they are incredibly well-made pieces of art.
Yeah.
He did one where it went down several levels. Like he created a mock-up of a fantasy novel where he was the star of it, and he shot the front cover of it, and then he wrote the actual chapters from the book, and you can download the book as a separate thing, and he'll do his own music intros and stuff, and these are like proper performances. And
gather sons and hear me tell of a ship that cut through a hideous swell with a pickerel crew that was bound for hell. The Amazon they called her, with a rancid tank and the rum most foul. A madness swam through the mariners' bowels. They heard the icy sundogs howl and grew a taste for murder. Grow right for Bezos upon a...
And meanwhile, he's doing that while he's building like a fucking 8-foot tall head, and he's building a boat, and he's doing all these things at the same time, and it's exemplary, the craftsmanship that's on display, but it's also just, there's like a genius level. He's doing everything to such an exacting level that just one of those things would take several months, but he's doing that on top of like 8 other things, and they're all in one video. So it's like you're going down all these different levels of, and then he'll have celebrities pop up for like 3 seconds in the video, and they'll go back to the video.
Yeah. Look at all the celebrities Paul like could actually deploy, and he doesn't use it.
No,
it seems like it's combining your interest of the procedural aspect of seeing someone practically make stuff, also along with the humor, but also that level of kind of intense creativity that he deploys. There's an ASMR element as well to it, I feel.
They're very, him and Blind Boy, they have a similar sort of cadence where there's an absurdity, but there's a soft, like lyrical Irish absurdity to it. Anyway, Blind Boy will do those intros like...
Gorgeous. You're gorgeous. Yeah, he would say, hello, you gorgeous fanny packs. You know?
Yeah, you whirling dervishes.
Yeah.
Take my word for it when I say Bobby Fingers is very, very funny and just incredibly talented. I make beautiful things, then see them buried. Oh yeah, he'd bury fucking chests out in the middle of nowhere, and he'll leave clues, and people will go off and find them, and they'll be buried in Canada, and they'll be buried in the Curragh and whatever. Anyway, he's Irish.
He's an artist. There's a kind of a performance art, there's practical art and a performance art. It's a kind of a combination of it's just an incredible artistic creative voice doing his own really specific thing.
Singular, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool.
If you've not sampled him, check him out. I think for some of you, he'll become your new favorite creator. He's that specific and good.
My number one.
Number one.
My kind of big category, of course, has to link back into the film, you know. So I have subscribed to a lot of film.
We're going to have the same number one.
There's a chance we actually might have. There are so many honourable mentions for me around film.
Do your honourable
storytelling.
mentions.
My Every Frame of Painting, I think, is amazing. It's there's a little video
about that one.
Video essays, really interesting. It discusses, breaks down editing and framing, and the conventional and practical ways of making film. It's really interesting. Lessons from the Screenplay is really good. I enjoy that because it's analysis, obviously, and screenwriting. It breaks down films, and there were some great breakdowns, and that one from the Avengers I think was actually really good. I've gone back to that a lot of times. Nerd Writer is very good as well. He kind of crosses a more. He's not just specific.
Isn't that spelled with a number?
Maybe it's Nerdwriter 1. Is it Nerdwriter 1? I think it might be.
It probably is, because I think you mentioned that before on the Patreon thing and I followed it.
I think it's Nerdwriter 1.
I'm subscribed. The Nerdwriter is a video series about art and culture.
Yeah, that's really good. And I'm going to go back. I'm going to give an honorable mention for a show that's long gone, but I mentioned it before. You're talking about YouTube people who went on to make films. Dan Trachtenberg was in a really fun pop culture show called The Totally Rad Show, which was more like a conventional movies, video games, TV review show. And he was one of the 3 hosts of that.
Would you call him a YouTuber though, or would you just call him a host on a YouTube show?
Yeah, he was, because he was already directing TV commercials at that stage. His career was already moving. He just was one of the hosts of a YouTube show. He didn't make YouTube content specifically. But I have a feeling that our number 1 might be the same.
Well, let me just read out some of our patrons' responses.
Okay.
So Derek Faraci, he said, go read some comics, and The Corridor Crew. There's 2 of his favourites, and his other one is on my list, so I'm not mentioning that.
Okay.
Jetlag, Jonathan Root said Jetlag, a series that started on YouTube, but is now so popular, it's got a dedicated streaming service called Nebula. I don't know that one. This is where things are so, like, specific. Another one is Walk With Me Tim, from very humble beginnings in 2020, when he just walked along the Norfolk coast. So it's kind of a travelogue one. Okay. Homestar Runner, Jill Bearup, Bad Lip Reading. Those are funny videos.
Yeah.
Simon's Cat.
Yeah, Simon's Cat's lovely. I've watched a lot of Simon's Cat videos. They're lovely.
I don't know that one. Robert Farley said The Weekly Planet, which I used to listen to an awful lot, and I've fallen off with those guys. I don't know why.
Right.
Giant Freaking Robot, 15-minute videos from the perspective on mainstream and alternative sci-fi entries. Rose Tinted Spectrum, hardworking nostalgia assassins on games and old kids TV shows and culture. One Credit Classics, part-time retro games player, Ray's Reviews, Comics Explained has come up again. So there are ones that are just like, I've never heard of them, so it's fascinating. And then James said Marcus Brownlee, who I love. He's the guy that does all the technology stuff. He'll do like breakdowns on Samsung phones and Apple and stuff. He's brilliant. If you don't know him, you should subscribe to him. You'd love him.
So I'm literally just looking him up right now.
Marcus Brownlee.
Yes, clip. Okay, it's not spelled to say. Okay.
Folding Ideas, Internet Comment Etiquette with Eric, Man Carrying Thing, Pierce Film Productions. I love Pierce Film Productions. They do all the model work on old movies. They're like documentaries about Blade Runner and about any movie where there's been some model work. Batteries Not Included or The Thing.
I love this. Crimson Tide, Dark City, Flight Plan, Alien Miniatures. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, they're really, really good. And he also mentioned the one that is on my list. But before we get into what I think we both have as our number 1, which if anyone listened to The Best Bits, it's very evident that it was an influence on us. But there are 2 that I love watching, and they're very different to everything else, but they're in that sort of YouTube show type things. They're not podcasts, but they're very funny. One is Chicken Shop Date. Have you ever heard of it?
No, never heard of that. Chicken Shop Date, okay. I'm doing a look. Tell me about it.
Good to see you again in this chicken shop rather than you following me around
on
red
red
carpet.
carpet. I know, I meant to apologise for that, but I'm very glad that we're here together.
It looks like you're stalking me.
Well, so this English girl, she's very funny, she's got a very dry wit, and she'll go on a chicken shop date with celebrities, and she kind of asks them inappropriate questions, and they're like 15-minute interviews, 10 minutes sometimes. They're very funny, but they're just like fake dates. But
oh my god! So is it like, are these the actual celebrities that she's interviewing? Because I see her with Cher.
Yeah, she's sitting down opposite them. And they're very cute. They're very funny. She'll sit there and she'll be talking to Billie Eilish and saying like, I don't know. I can't even give you an example of what she'd be saying. She's just got a very dry British sense of humour.
It's a huge guest list, as you're saying. You're like Ben Stiller, Cher, Paul Mescal,
Paul Mescal. She gets people and she'll have Paul Mescal squirming, like absolutely like burning bright red with embarrassment as she's flirting with him and they're flirting back. And I find that stuff so fucking charming and funny. Watch them, you'll get it immediately. There's another one called Z-Way.
Tonight, I interview rapper and comedian Vince Staples.
What do you want your last words on screen to be?
R. Kelly. He only had one slow kid in the whole school pick up a book. Where were the white people?
Well, you brought up slavery. Don't put this on me.
F you and your bald-ass granny. Shoot guns, smoke crack, bitches.
My most iconic interview yet.
Do you remember there used to be that podcast series Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis?
Oh, yeah.
Where he would ask inappropriate questions. And but those felt like the other person was almost in on it and they were kind of scripted.
Yeah. As you said, scripted, yeah.
But since then, more grounded versions of those have come along where they're not scripted. And one of them is Z-Way, Z-I-W-E.
Okay.
She will ask gotcha questions to people. What do you think about race relations? This sounds very heavy, but they're very, very funny because she's playfully putting them on the spot and making them squirm and asking them stuff that they can't really answer and backing them into a corner. But they're very, very funny. And again, it's the personality of the people. So Chicken Shop Date and Z-Way, they're very similar in terms of they're awkward people and they're making the guest awkward. And I find that very funny to watch.
Okay, that's good. I subscribe to her as well. That looks good. Okay, very good.
But my number one is a channel that I've been watching for about 10 years, and I watch almost every video that they put out. And I've put them at number one for a couple of reasons. One, I think that everybody that listens to us probably is aware of them, but you'd be surprised how many people don't know of this channel. Like one of our friends, I'm saying all this assuming that you've got the same one as me.
I already know. Yeah, it is. It has to be the same. Yeah.
Go on, what is it?
It's Red Letter Media. It has to be.
It's Red Letter Media, yeah. And
I said just to cut across you there is like when one of the ways I managed to figure out what I'm putting where was I went into my watch later list, which is basically me clicking on a video saying I don't have the time to watch this now, but I want to.
Is there
watch
such a
this
thing as a
future.
watch later list?
A what? You don't know this? All you have to do is say there's a video. There's 3 dots or something on the Wii video, right? Like there's 3 when you click on a video, there's 3 dots beside the video, like in a vertical fashion. You click on that, and it says save to watch later. And you have a whole watch later list. Basically, you can create a whole playlist of stuff that you will watch later. You can click on any video, and they all just go into your little watch later list. You then click on the menu, and you go scroll down, and it says watch later. And it's a list of those.
Save to watch later. I have never seen that.
I have. So I have one. I'll tell you now.
I've got Send Help up there, and I'm not going to watch that until I've seen Send Help. So I would just ignore it.
So yeah, and so put that on watch later. So I have over 200 videos on my watch later list, and the majority of them.
It's going to take you about a couple of months.
But the majority of them are Red Letter Media videos. So going back, so I'm like going, I don't want to miss them because
they're great crack.
They're good fun. They have interesting takes, whether it be Half in the Bag series.
Half in the Bag.
Which is not the Half in the Bag series, or Worst of the Worst, which is my favorite.
Wheel of the Worst.
Every day we receive thousands of terrible VHS tapes and DVDs. Some are so fucking weird we don't exactly know what to do with them. That's why the Wheel of the Worst was designed. It's a torture device for the modern age. The wheel is spun 3 times. Each spin selects a video at random for the group to watch, and then evaluate which video is the best of the worst.
Do you know what I used to love as well that they did? And Rich and the Bald Guy had a video game channel, and I used to love that video. They would just do playthroughs and just chat to each other, and it was a totally different vibe. Yeah. But I love that channel. And I also find that my taste aligns a lot with them. Like I fall in between Rich's taste, Mike's taste, and Jay's taste. Even though Jay's a bit of a complete weirdo at times, he likes stuff that is absolutely like off the wall, crazy shit. But I do find that I'm a little bit of each of them, and that in a video when the 3 of them are discussing stuff, I'm like, Yeah,
I can see that.
I can agree with all of their
things.
different viewpoints
Yeah.
in some way or shape or form, but they're brilliant. They're brilliant crack.
Yeah.
And the reason they're my number one, because I thought this is going to be too obvious, but I've had conversations with people outside of my little bubble, and they don't know who they are. They don't know what they're about.
Incredible.
And
Yeah.
one of them is our good mate Jamie Hannigan. He doesn't know who Red Letter Media are.
Really? I didn't know Jamie
Yeah.
didn't know about them. Oh, wow. Like they do so much. And like, actually, I stand corrected. My favorite of their videos that they do are the retrospective review videos, because they're championing, they're not being cynical about, like, you know, the state of affairs or a certain film is out there. But when they champion the good stuff, you get, you get to feel the enthusiasm and that kind of like the source of their juice, kind of like what we used to do in the Best Pitch, which is like going straight to the stuff that really made them enthusiastic for the medium in the first place. And they do get some really interesting guests in, like they had Macaulay Culkin on one time, and he was quite fun to actually see him kind of do one of their worst of the worst, roundtables.
But they've got some, like, they've got a lovely coterie of characters that will pop up. The Canadian VFX guys that would come along every so often. Very funny. But they're doing a whole retrospective at the moment on Deep Space Nine. Because I've not watched that series, I haven't watched it yet, but they'll watch stuff that will inspire me to pull the trigger and end up, like, I'll probably end up watching Deep Space Nine or just be able to watch those videos.
Yeah, yeah. And for some reason, the Red Letter Media stuff isn't appearing on my feed. I'm not getting like bombarded with it. So I'm forgetting about it. So I will watch and they're such Star Trek nerds. I love that they're such Star Trek nerds, serious fucking Star Trek nerds. And I remember Mike pitching, this is a long time ago, before the Picard series even started, he pitched a take of his Star Trek Picard series. And I remember thinking, that's kind of good. That's kind of good. And
It doesn't surprise me. They do have good ideas.
Yeah. And they made their own movies. They made their own schlocky,
I've never
crappy
seen any
movies.
of them, though.
I've only seen clips. I think Space Cop was one, and they're really low rents, but they're doing it knowing that they're making a crappy, schlocky movie.
I also used to love their audio commentaries.
Oh, did it? I didn't know they had any.
They did. But yeah, I've been listening to them for about a decade now, and they're very, very cynical, but that somehow makes them even more charming and more funny to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah,
they even did a really interesting video just recently about AI slop and kind of like their take on where it's all going to go.
And their fans.
Yeah. But they always have interesting takes, and but you know what? It's kind of like, it's the parasocial aspect of it. It's you like hanging out with them. You like kind of feel like you're just chilling with them and kind of giggling along with them as they don't take themselves or what they're talking about very seriously. But they also do. They're really passionate.
So, script by J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio, writer of Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and the Justice League.
Is that a joke?
No.
This movie's going to be awful. This movie's going to be awful.
Don't you be a poo-pooing internet armchair critic, Rich.
None of these people have written anything good. J.J. Abrams with his mystery box bullshit. And what's his face who wrote two of the worst movies of all time? This is just this is a dream combination.
And I don't like our odds. What the hell?
Both of us. This isn't a channel that we recommend it to each other. This is something that we've obviously been watching independently of it before we even started doing the podcast, long before that. So I think we all probably learned about them from the famous Star Wars
Mr.
Episode 1
Plinkett.
takedown.
Yeah,
Mr. Plinkett.
Phantom
that one
Menace.
of their, and a really good analysis of that movie. A really good, 3-hour takedown of that film.
I had a friend that I recommended that to, and they didn't like it because they thought the jokes were all misogynistic. Oh, they're so over the top. They're not. Do you remember when he used to have that woman in a dungeon and stuff, and he'd be like, that stuff is inappropriate. The joke is that it's inappropriate. Yeah.
And this is the character. This is not them saying, "Oh, look what this is." It's like they're creating this persona, and it's a character, and it's I think they're misreading the intent there.
There you go. It's an unusual episode from us. Not very funny, but you know, it's us just talking about things we love. And I've learned a little bit more about Will. Have you learned more about me?
Oh, well, I already knew about the ASMR stuff and the wood building stuff, but I've definitely got some really... I'm looking forward to checking out some of these videos that I've subscribed to while we have been chatting. So
just click save for later, save for later, save for later, save for later.
If even at all, it bloody well shakes up my YouTube feed. That's what I kind of want. Yeah, just to get some extra stuff in there. I'm going to unsubscribe from some stuff to get the clutter out. It's been a fun chat. I've enjoyed it. It's been a different type of a chat. It's been good.
Did we even say the intro to the episode? I don't think we did.
I did it.
Procrastinate on mic. We've just been procrastinating. There you go. If you like this podcast, you can get more episodes from us over on Patreon. We've got about 100 bonus shows over there. Also, like, subscribe, rate, review. We usually read out a review, but we don't have any at the moment because everybody's turned on the podcast. Nobody likes us anymore, so nobody's not.
Don't say that. They do not. They love us, and they're coming in their droves, and more are coming. So don't say that. We have a lovely little podcast and a great community.
Prove it.
Great support.
Prove it.
Great support. I missed an open goal at the beginning with the intro where it's like, you know, this is a podcast where two professional screenwriters procrastinate on mic. And one of the main ways I've managed to procrastinate from doing screenwriting is by watching YouTube videos. So
too late now. I'm not taking this and putting it at the beginning.
Of course you're not. I'm just leaving it there just so I can, you know, beat myself up later when I listen back to this.
Don't do that. I can do that for you. Thank you to our Patreons for making this podcast possible. And we'll be back soon. I think the next episode, actually, we know what it is ahead of time. We're going to see the new Sam Raimi film, and we're going to talk all about Sam Raimi films.
It means I'm getting out to the cinema, which is great.
Yeah, with your heavy, chesty cold and stuff. In fact, Donegal, you'll take about 18 people with you.
They gave it to me in the first place, so I'm just bringing it back. I'm just giving them...
There you go. Good to talk to you, Will.
Same. Looking forward to the next time.
It's great to be back on mic again, talking shite.